Rounding to 100 in large numbers instruction. Hello, my name is Sarah. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to round to the hundreds place value in large numbers. You will need a whiteboard, a piece of paper, or the handout available with this lesson, and something to write with. Let's get started. In order to round to the nearest hundreds, we need to know how to count by hundreds. Let's practice that now. Count by 100 with me. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. Well done. We're going to learn how to round to the hundreds place value in large numbers. The first number we're going to round is 37,438. Please copy this number down. When we round a large number to the nearest hundreds, we will follow the same process as if we were rounding just to hundreds. The first thing we do is identify the hundreds place value. In this number, the 4 is in the hundreds place value. Underline the 4. Next, we'll circle the number that will tell 438 how to round. So we always circle the number behind the place value we are rounding. Next, we're going to look in front of the 4. In front of the 4, there is a 3 and a 7. We are going to ignore those numbers. Do not pay any attention to them. For now, we're only concentrating on the 438. Which two hundreds is 438 between? 438 is between 400 and 500. When we round, 0 to 4 will tell us to go down. 5 to 9 will tell us to go up. So when we look at 438, the 3 is the number that will tell us how to round. 3 is between 0 and 4. So 438 is going to round down to 400. So when we write the answer, we will write 37,000. Those were the two numbers we were ignoring. And then we will write 400 because the 3 tells 438 to round down to 400. So our answer is 37,400. 37,438 rounded to the nearest hundreds is 37,400. Be sure to check your work. The next number we're going to round is 1,872. Be sure to write this down. We're going to round this number to the nearest hundreds. 8 is in the hundreds place. Next, we need to identify what number will tell us how to round. That will be the number behind 8, which is 7. So 7 is going to tell 872 how to round. There is a 1 in front of the 8 that we can ignore. We don't need to pay any attention to that yet. Which two hundreds is 872 between? 872 is between 800 and 900. If you remember, 0 to 4 tells us to round down. 5 to 9 tells us to round up. In this number, the 7 will tell us how to round. The 7 is between 5 and 9. The 7 is going to tell 872 to round up to 900. So when we write the answer, we'll write the 1 for 1,000 and then 900 because 7 tells 872 to round to 900. So 1,872 rounded to the nearest hundred rounds to 1,900. Be sure to check your work. The next number we're going to round is 94,659. We're going to round this to the nearest hundreds. 94,659. Be sure to copy this down. What digit is in the hundreds? The 6 is in the hundreds place value. Next, we'll circle the 5, which will tell 659 how to round. We'll ignore the 9 and the 4. The two hundreds that 659 is between is 600 and 700. Remember, 0 to 4 tells us to round down. 5 to 9 tells us to round up. The 5 is going to tell 659 to round up to 700. So when we write out our answer, we'll write out the 94,000 and then the 700. We write 94 for 94,000 and then we write 700 because the 5 tells 659 to round up to 700. Be sure to check your answer. There are only a few more numbers left. The next number we're going to round is 205,721. That is a really big number. We're going to follow the exact same process. We're going to round this number to the nearest hundreds. What number is in the hundreds place value? The 7. We'll circle the 2 because the 2 will tell 721 how to round. We will ignore the 2, 0, and 5 because they are in front of the hundreds place value. The two numbers that 721 are between is 700 and 800. If you remember, 0 to 4 rounds down, 5 to 9 rounds up, 2 is going to tell 721 to round down to 700. When we write the answer, we will write 205,000 and then we will write 700 because 2 tells 721 to round down. So when we round 205,721 to the nearest hundred, the answer will be 205,700. Be sure to check your answer. There's only one more problem left. The last number we're going to round is 4,071. 4,071. Please copy this down. What number is in the hundreds place value? The 0 is in the hundreds place value. The 7 will tell us how to round. We can ignore the 4 because it's in front of the 0. Now this might be a little tricky. Which two numbers is 0 between? Which two numbers is this between? 0 goes between 0 and 100. So those would be the two numbers we're rounding between. If you remember, 0 to 4 rounds down and 5 to 9 rounds up. The 7 tells us we're going to be rounding up. So when we write our answer, 4,071, we're going to include the 4 for 4,000, and then the 071 changes to 100 because the 7 tells it to round up to 100. So our answer is 4,100. Be sure to check your work. In this lesson, we learned how to round to the hundreds place value in large numbers. Thank you for following along.